I gotta unmute myself.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Good in yourself.
I'm good. I'm good. It's got to see y'all faces on here on YouTube Live. Um,
Are we live
so
right now?
was that?
We're live right now.
We are live. And so we will get started right now. And so we have several poets here. And I think for the sake of YouTube Live, it might be good just to do a quick round of, it might be good to do a quick round of introductions so everyone can see your faces. So let's just start in my top left and go with Anna.
My name is Anna. I'm from UCR Guardian Scholars.
Okay. And then next up, let's go with Asha.
My name is Ashanique. I go by Shroon, and I'm from RCC Guardian Scholars.
Hey, thank you. And then next up, we'll go with Marlene.
My name is Marlene. I'm from UCR Guardian Scholars.
And then up next, let's go with Diamond.
Hi, everybody. My name is Diamond Machabi, and I'm from UCR Guardian Scholars, class of 2018.
Thank you, Diamond. And then up next, we'll go with Christina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christina. My poet name is Poetry Knows, and I'm an alum of Cal State San Bernardino.
Thanks, y'all. And so this is our 5th Voices and Visions that we've done. You know, it's unfortunate with the pandemic, we had to move this to a virtual space, but we have scrambled and we worked really hard to put this on for the community and for our foster youth allies. And so I want to thank our student performers and everyone who's been working behind the scenes to make this happen. If you go to our Instagram page, UCR Foster Youth, you will see all of the photos of the past 5 years curated on that platform to kind of see the visual artwork that our students have done over the years. And so I also want to give a bit of a trigger warning for everyone. Some of the content is a bit sensitive in nature, so please, self-care is important, and feel free to, you know, end the live cast, step away, step out of the room if any of the content gets a little bit too heavy. But I also encourage our students to also speak their truth. I didn't introduce myself, I'm sorry. My name is Kenyon Whitman. I am the program director of the Office of Foster Youth Support Services at UC Riverside. And so the students are gonna kind of go around and spit some spoken word for you all. We hope you enjoy it. Feel free to give us feedback in the YouTube live chat. And also for those of us who are actually on the webinar on Zoom, feel free to leave us some comments as well. And so we're gonna dive right into it. And so first up, we have Asha.
Hey, like I said, my name's Ashanique. I go by Shroom. And this one I just wrote it for the East Side, for my community. It's like a love-hate relationship, you know. And I also wrote it for anybody else that, you know, loves their stomping grounds or their roots, where they came from. Here we go. What is home? How does it feel to you? I mean, I could tell you my personal definition relating to my experience, but is home something everybody wants? I mean, I have friends that have a home, but don't really feel at home. Then I also know people that are on the streets that feel at home, where they are, more than I feel at my spot. So what really is home? When I think about home, I automatically think of my mother. Why? Because although I was in the system, my mom was always near my whole life. Even if we weren't together, we were together in Riverside, where all our memories have been. Home is East Riverside, to be exact. Even though I disappeared, my existence didn't. I mean, I came home to people who remembered me that I didn't even remember. And now when I walk the streets, I remember more and more people. Because this place, it was once my home. East Riverside. Shoot, as a kid, I remember hitting up the Black History Parade every year with my family. My church would have me handing out little candies and whatnot, and it would always rain on us. But I mean, I loved it. It was life to me. Just like the block party. I love that too. They haven't had one since I was a kid though, and I miss it. My community felt great in my younger years. We even had an East Side talent show. I sat in the front row at Bobby Bonds Park. I had to be under 10, but I remember it like it was recently, to be honest. And these right here are the golden memories in my home that I live for, that I love. I mean, check it. There's Boardwell, Tina's Mexican Food, Delia's Grinders, The Vibe, North High, Food for Less, and most of all, my street, which is Michael Street. This is where my heart is. And I realize how much I love it, but I also realize that I can't spend the rest of my life here at home. This home of mine has a community that I deeply love, but it also has its downfalls just like every other community. Home is only a utopian place in our heads. My home for my whole life has been, besides a small portion, has been influenced by the streets. These things that feel normal to me may put somebody else in a different state of mind. We are a community in my home, really. But it also feels like everybody is an enemy now that I've gotten older and things are different. Sadly, it's normal to see death in the streets and life in the children. To think it's easy to live in a home like this is kind of crazy, man. How can we truly live in so much hate? So me personally, I just resort to art, forms of expression. Home can have your demons anxious to react, but an outlet can give you some sort of ease at times. And I mean, it helps me believe that love is still possible. Thank you.
Thank you. That was dope. Thank you, Asha. That was dope. Thank you for that poem, Ashanique. Ashanique is also a talented singer and rapper. She just dropped a single and a music video. She's coming out with the EP later on this summer, so look out for Asha. Up next, we have Marlene, our future MD / PhD, up next.
Okay, so this piece I wrote to reflect the insecurities that a lot of youth in foster care may have concerning a home and, you know, where they fit. And this is especially, you know, personal to me because it does showcase a lot of insecurities that I have. So hope you guys enjoyed. The name of my piece is A Heart Guided by the Mind. If home is where the heart is, and one's heart is guided by one's mind, then where is home when this mind has been fractured by the trauma of the past? Every sense of home that I have had has been pried from my grasp, torn away from loved ones time and time again. Feelings of disconnect and isolation are constant. Moving from place to place, treated like a job and a paycheck, being told that I was safe and loved, allowing me to open up, to start trusting again, but then hurt in both body and mind, time and time again, giving pieces of myself, of my heart away, just to be tossed aside and abandoned when things became too inconvenient, too much of a burden, like trash that needed to be thrown out. Cultivators with a purpose to nourish and protect a growing seed, but instead neglect its care. And before it's allowed to fully bloom, it's torn from its stem, its lifeline. The roots blackened by the lack of nourishment. Like a plague, it spreads. A plague that only leaves the damaged tissue behind, tissue that is now barren of essential nutrients, but contains an abundance of insecurity, fear, torment, and trauma. The damaged tissue gives way to shadows, shadows that bear the scars of time. They are relentless, constantly following, intensifying where light hits. When comfort is felt like banshees, they screech, useless, unworthy of love, destinada a estar siempre sola, nunca amada. These are things that they say, true or not, they are internalized, causing the mind to twist and distort, a mind that then guides the heart that lies inside. It obscures and it distorts reality, even when reality is pure and true. So if home is where the heart is, and this heart has been tainted by the mind, does that then mean that anything that is built will have a cracked foundation? With one hit, will everything crumble? Will the people that reside inside forget about what they claim to love? Like the events of the past, will they abandon the goodness that is grasping for a place to call home? A home que debe ser el foco central, donde puedes estar a paz. A place where challenges and obstacles don't overshadow love. That no matter what fate has planned, people will stay bound and the connections they have made will not be broken. A place to feel loved, a place to feel safe.
Woo!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love that one, love that one. So up next, we have Diamond, one of our alum, graduated a couple years ago. So glad you could join us. So you're up next, take the mic.
Thanks for having me. My poem is it just gives kind of some introspect into how childhood trauma doesn't end when you stop being a child. And it's untitled, so I'm gonna just go for it. I feel as though I'm in this endless cycle of sadness. The drives I take at 2 a.m. seem to go on until sunrise. The escape I need never seems to come to pass. When will this cloud of darkness dissipate and leave me with its refreshing precipitation? Days turn into nights, and 8-hour shifts turn into 40 hours of hell. My mind running on an endless hamster wheel with the reel of my mistakes hanging over my head. But I swear there's a halo that takes its place every now and then. Then there are times I wish it could slip over my head and I could embody the idea fully. I swear I don't need an intervention and I don't want your pity. I refuse to allow you to take the bags I've been dragging along with me since adolescence and dump them in front of me, forcing me to face their uselessness. And then make me have to climb over them to continue my journey. You don't know me and you don't know where the fuck I've been. So I've got to show you. I have to show you and prove to you not to fuck with me. I've been shot at, I've been molested, I've been neglected, and I've been misunderstood. And those events are bold on my life's resume. So excuse me if I have to drag these useless skeletons with me for the rest of my life so that you are reminded that I should be one of them.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm over here looking at the YouTube comments and someone wrote, healing is near. I love that comment. I love your poem too, Diamond. Every time I hear it, it gets better and better and better. I really do appreciate it. I love your sweater, by the way, too. And so up next, we have our sophomore. We have Anna. I think you're muted, Anna. We can't hear you.
I'm not. Okay, now I am? No? Okay. My name is Anna. This is a short piece of what, a reflection of what home means to me. Home. Home to me is not a place, but a feeling of being at peace. The names that come to mind when I think of home are Jasmine and Michael. They've always been my home. Maybe it's because they're the one thing in my life that has never changed. From addresses to families with broken promises of always going to be around, or at least until the checks stop, or until I'm finally an inconvenience. To my siblings, I've always been the glue that holds us together. But the truth is, they've always been the thing that holds me together. With them by my side, there's no darkness in the world that I can't overcome. It hurts to think of how easy it is for me to think of my siblings as my home, because then it makes me think, why couldn't we be a home for her? Why couldn't we be the peace that she needed? Her home was the drugs and the alcohol, almost everything except for us. I've come to peace with the fact that things won't change at this point, but I've grown to understand that just because my own mother never stayed doesn't mean that everyone will always leave.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. That was awesome. I love it. I think something that's really important to kind of mention is this is many of the students' first time ever performing any form of spoken word, the first time writing any form of poetry. And I think it's just amazing for them to be creative and also vulnerable in this space with everyone and many folks that they cannot see. So thank you, Anna. And up next, we have someone who is not a stranger to spoken word. We have Christina, AKA Poetry Knows.
I wrote this poem called 7 Days, and it was really to highlight what was happening with foster youth getting 7-day notices. And it went along with a bill that was passed to turn 7-day notices illegal and allow for 14-day notices. So here we go. I was never noticed, just 7 days. Trading for a kid much younger than me. The checks wasn't worth it for me. How can I be valued but at the same time worthless, dummy? You housed me, said you love me, but this home ain't for me. You met me at the door, black and hefty. Now my eyes are heavy. You promised you never leave me. I wish you kept that same energy when you got to know my trauma. I called you my mama, but to you, I was only drama and a comma. But that sentence is after 8 weeks and 3 days. Packed my shit and pulled up in 3 days. Said I had to go based off my bad ways. You threw me out like bad takeaway. But the only thing I could take away was heartache. Now I'm grouped into placements, removed after being mistaken for sold, auctioned to those with the most rooms, trapped in confined places with my shit still packed, removed. My pillow is my backpack. My tears are my blanket. Software droplets of kisses. My bed is this floor right next to the brown door. My closet is where I stuff all my insecurities in packed boxes, ready to be moved. My shoelaces are the only thing that hugs me. My trash bag is the only thing that loves me. As I gather myself inside plastic and stuff my emotions in overfilled dumpsters, my pajamas are loose jeans, a black tee, and running shoes. Hoping they don't catch me. I'm angry. These hard footsteps are me dragging my body to this fucking door. I'm tired. My sleep is unstable and I'm over-medicated. Just remove every remnant of my presence. Destroy every image in your room. Divide my relationship to murder my ability to ever trust again. Chop off my hands so I can never touch or be touched again. Move. 7 Days are the only thing that ever noticed me. Hefty was the only brand I ever wore 37 times, but who's keeping score? I'm pretty sure these doors are sore from all the opening and closing they do. Shit, I wish the system was too, just through, like I am with you. Warning, warning, warning. This is a child welfare system failure. Failure, please try again. Never, never, never. Thank you.
That was so
Yes. Can we just let that one breathe for a second? Took my breath away, got my heartbeat all up. Okay, Christina, I love your style of spoken word. It's really powerful. It's really engaging. For real, like I got like goosebumps. Thank you. I feel the energy. And so back to the virtual mic, we have Asha. I appreciate your voice as well. I think I told you this already, but you remind me of one of my favorite artists, Lloyd, your swag and like your style and stuff like that. So anyways, I'll let you go ahead and spit your verse.
Oh, good. All right, so this one I actually wrote in middle school. I was in the 8th grade and I showed it to my teacher. It was during a time of darkness. And it was kind of awkward because she stared at me the whole class period. And a little later, I ended up in the mental hospital, but I got better. So that's the thing that matters. I got better. All right, this is called Blood and Pain. Blood and pain had been my best friends for a while at one point. Pain was home because that's all I had during that time. It may seem crazy, but that's what it was. The two things hurt, yes, but it also helped me. They may have put me in tears, but they took away some sort of fear. Like when the blood oozed out my skin, it just, it took away everything. My misery, the low self-esteem, regrets, and mostly my thoughts, the thoughts. I was releasing my rage through that sharp ass blade. Alternative options? I was keeping myself from those ODs or stabbings and bullets. That's what it could have been. Negativity was the key. It was my thing for life. And I thought I was better off that way, as cold as it seems. But I walked in this world lost, and I watched everybody. Most of them seemed happy, and they had somebody. But when I looked in the mirror, I just had me. It was just me. A girl that lived in pain, and she cried for blood. And that's why I simply just, I just put on my hood. That's it.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So up next, we have, coming back to the virtual mic, we have Diamond.
So hi again, everybody. This poem is called Home. We know that home brings a lot of warm feelings to a lot of folks, but for a lot of foster kids and people like me, it doesn't. So I just wanted to highlight some of that in this poem. Home, trying to remember what that's like. I get a bit anxious. I begin to feel that I never had one. I couldn't fully comprehend what was going on at home when I was younger, but I knew I didn't want to be nothing like it. Drugs and alcohol, no role models. The ones that were supposed to nurture me instead planted seeds for me to cultivate self-hate. Risking my life then and even now because they didn't care about their own lives. That was the place I was delivered to after school. Hopping off the yellow bus and not wanting to go inside, school became my home, and I never wanted to leave. After school programs, sports, and friends, but most of all, adults that believed in me and gave me structure. A place to excel and prove that I was worthy of something, maybe even good enough to be loved properly. The yearning to be back at that same dysfunctional place every time the holidays come around. Holidays were the good times. Drugs were still around, but they weren't used for a good time. They were used for a good time, not for coping and neglecting me and my siblings. The food was amazing, something my foster family could never give me, but I love that they tried. The dancing, the music, the games we played were irreplaceable. It made the long seasons of pain worth it because these days I knew my family was capable of reciprocating everything I ever wanted. Home. A safe haven for most, but for myself and others like me, until I had a place to call my own. It was all I ever wanted, a place where I'd feel safe about 90% of the time. But when I finally got it, my own place, I realized I was alone, at home. But I felt like I was at sea, an emotional seesaw where waves of loneliness crash on my shores wherever I go. And that's what home is to me, uncertainty, a new meaning given to a rolling stone. But a rolling stone is never what I want it to be. Now it's the only thing that I'm certain about. As long as I have my backpack with me, I feel at home. A little cash, toiletries, and a journal, and all my necessities for work. I know I'm ready and prepared to be at home, wherever home is.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Diamond. Gave a new meaning to a rolling stone. One of my favorite lines of that piece. And so one thing I really love about spoken word and art in general is it is a space for healing. It's a space to kind of let out your emotions. One of the comments was like, let out and leave the negative energy. and embrace the positive. And so, you know, you're definitely pouring out your souls, and I really hope that you and others watching find this space to be a space of healing, and a space of inspiration. So real talk. And so back up, we have Marlene.
Okay, so this next piece is for a very special person in my life. I met her during a very dark time in my life, and she was really there for me. And she is just an amazing person. I always joke with her and tell her that she likes to take in strays, but the truth is that her heart is just so immense that her love has no bounds. And so she had enough room in her heart for me, and I find that amazing because not everybody can do that. So to this very special person, I hope you know who you are. This piece is called My Gem. A rare and precious gem you are. Your hazel green eyes shine with the beauty of a jade. Your brown hair woven with the fibers of the land. Your skin touched with olive and ivory. A rare and precious gem you are. Small in stature, but a goddess with the strength of a diamond, vibrancy of a sapphire. You are more beautiful than gold, as beautiful, passionate, and loving as rubies. A rare and precious gem you are. You were perfectly molded, and body by the earth, and heart by love, and mind by life. A rare and precious gem you are. With your ruby heart, you reflect all that is good in nature, radiating a light that comes from within. You make the people around you feel loved, going beyond what is expected, but expecting nothing in return. Being a rarity in a world where green paper is valued over the green of the earth, over the beautiful creations of Mother Nature. Instead, you amplify the value of truly precious things, holding them dear to your heart. People you love, people who love you, people who are strangers, people who come from all walks of life, poor, rich, Black, brown, people you value, people are what you value. One of the most beautiful creations of Mother Nature. You are a ruby heart that scatters its light to all that would take it in. And despite the harm that others may inflict upon you, you love. Loving with an intensity that outshines the sun. As much as you get pushed away, you hold on to those you love, strengthening your grip, breaking through the barriers and damage that keep you at bay, giving them a strong and vibrant embrace, one that dispels the shadows and demons that linger, creating a warm atmosphere. Such an embrace that can make any feel at home, at peace, feeling safe, feeling loved. Eres mi madre del alma, mi madre sagrada, the epitome of what Mother Nature intended for her creations. A mother who chooses to value all Mother Nature's creations, a mother who nourishes for the body, mind, and heart. A mother who builds and creates a home, one that does not crumble under pressure, one that is built to love, one that radiates joy even in the darkest days. You are my rare and precious gem.
I love that one.
Love that one, Marlene. Thank you for that one. That really got me in my feelings, for real. Voice in the Visions is an event that's been going on for, this is our 5th year. And it is a collaboration with a lot of folks, not only the student performers, but also the staff at the different foster youth support programs in the Riverside area, including Jeremy Johnson, who is the director, coordinator at Riverside City College, and then Chris Deck, who was formerly director and coordinator with Moreno Valley College, but now works with RCCD, Riverside Community College District. And those two have been really a strong backbone for carving out this space for foster youth to be able to tell their stories and speak their truth and ultimately raise awareness about foster youth. So much about the stories about foster youth are told through other people. And a lot of the stories that are told kind of also magnify and perpetuate stigma. And so I think it's really important to allow our students to reclaim their space and to reclaim their own stories. I also want to thank some of our previous feature poets that have really elevated voices and visions over the years. Our very first feature back when we started in the psychology library, it was like 50 of us in a small room. Sade Daniels, many folks may know who she is. She's an amazing public speaker, a former foster youth from Oakland. She was our first feature. And then we had Queen Sheba, who's from Atlanta. And then our last feature poet last year was Solomon O.B., all the way from England, all the way from the UK. So that was cool to have him perform for us. And so this event would not be possible without so many folks. I want to make sure that I give a big thank you and a huge debt of gratitude to all the folks that have made this happen. And so we only have a couple of more poems left, and we're going to end it with Christina, aka Darken Artistry, aka Poetry Knows, more nicknames than Puffy himself. So take us to the end, Christina.
This next poem that I'll be reading is called Black in Foster Care. I wrote this, was inspired actually by Sade Daniels when she wrote a poem for a workshop called Black in Foster Care. And it's just kind of highlighting the experiences of Black children that are put in Caucasian homes. Black in foster care. I'm every white family's last choice, but the first to be talked about among their friends as if I was a bad FICO score. Her naps break our combs, her music is too ethnic, she talks ratchet, uncivil, written all in my social worker's notes. I'm called all types of names for never finishing my food on my plate. If you added seasoning, Susan, maybe I would, but I'm ungrateful instead. Told I could be sent away and that I should be grateful that I'm in a white place. Because we have good school districts, no game banging like your daddy probably did. I'm not racist, but your daddy probably in prison. Your mama could have aborted you, so you should be grateful that you're living. They get a check once a month, but the only thing I see is perms and their children in new shoes, outfits, and with haircuts. I guess my Blackness prohibits fair treatment. I'm cut off of my culture, and when I act out of circumstance, I'm noticed for removal, deemed unsuitable. My brother threw a plastic cup and left with a bloody nose and in handcuffs. I guess expression and normal behavior and emotion is for white folk. Bad, nuanced, anger management issues, ADHD, problematic and emotionally unstable, written all in his case notes. Why do they keep recruiting white folk for foster kids when the system reflects minorities? Color doesn't define love, but there's a culture shock. There's a disconnect in understanding, and based off pure statistics and facts, brown kids and Blacks are put in group homes more than any other group. So who's the problem? The children and the shitty foster parents you recruit? Or is it just a ploy to sex traffic and keep Black folk in an orange suit? If you don't like what I said, then maybe you should look in the mirror and see if these words reflect you. So that's my, one of my poems, Black in Foster Care. Thank you. I'm gonna read one last one. This last poem is out of what's been happening. COVID-19 has greatly impacted the foster care system. Child welfare agencies are having a hard time figuring out how to support youth in care with this digital divide and young people not having access to technology and all these different things. The social worker is scared about their safety, but so is Timmy, Rachel, and Rodney. Hiding behind couches for daddy, today was our visit, but what does it mean for the foster children when a social worker is missing? They're trapped behind four walls that may be toxic, violent, begging to breathe, but the air is stuck in silence because the world is on autopilot. 14-day notices can turn into 7 real quick in a healthcare crisis. No CFT, just violating the rights of children, abusing their knowledge because the system is in a panic. Damn, the child welfare system is full of the dramatics, but there's no showtime. Just violations that don't seem to constitute a crime despite legality. because fosters are only seen statistically. If it's not a number, then they don't exist physically. How many have to die before you protect them? What's a home in a crisis? It's couch surfing because you don't want to go to a shelter. It's packing your belongings separate from your family because they are scared you have something. It's the system requiring tests for placement without symptoms, knowing damn well you can't take one. It's vacant beds, but the foster parents still getting that check as if it wasn't. It's an increase in abuse and decrease in oversight. It's siblings being separated. What's a home in a pandemic is fucked up. It's something that mimics the home they were taken from. It's not because of the pandemic, the system been fucked up. It's just a pandemic that shows you how fucked up. Imagine if the system recruited good foster parents that cared about the wellness of their children. Imagine if we held them accountable and gave them risk assessments and were strategic about not leaving them in the homes. What if we was current with time and created secure features and supplied children and youth with technology to communicate when things got sticky? What if we burned it down and built a system that was actually working? Because children keep slipping through the cracks, or is it just too many holes and the entire ship is sinking? What's a home in the midst of a pandemic? It's at the bottom of the ocean on the brink of non-existence. What's a home enduring a pandemic? It's non-existent. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I love those last three pieces. I really do. Thank you all again for but for sharing your truth and getting us into insight of who you are and being vulnerable with us. And so I want to give y'all an opportunity to just say some parting words for the people. If y'all want to just kind of speak on anything before we end this live stream. Anna?
I think some things I would say is just a lot of foster youth don't usually want pity. I think they just want you to understand that the way they've grown up is different, and not that you should treat them differently, but just understand. I think that's what I've always really wanted, is just understanding. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Diamond?
Sorry, I was muted, but I guess I'd just like to say thanks for the opportunity and thanks for listening to me. A lot of things from a lot of foster youth in general can be very touchy topics and very vulnerable. So it's great to have a safe space provided by UC Riverside to, bring us closer together. Just like Christina said, with the pandemic, a lot of things have been really stressful on us, or we're really alone. And having a place like this to come to when I was at UCR, you don't have to question whether the people around you are going through the same thing or not. And it just creates a great community. So I just want to thank Kenyon and Tupid and everyone that contributes to UC Riverside. And thanks for giving me a place to share a little bit about myself.
Thank you, Diamond. Let's go to Asha next.
Okay. Listening and understanding. They said that I really appreciate you guys for listening. This place and this atmosphere, it really lets me release. For some reason, I tend to get emotional while performing in this program, and it feels really good, and I think it's because I finally get to, say how I feel, and how, just so you guys could just kind of get to understand who Shroom is, or what she's going through. Just, I'm a person, that needs love, just like everybody else. So this place makes me feel loved, makes me feel good. I don't know. So I'm just thanking you guys. And that's it.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Drew. We love you.
Love y'all
Your
too.
emotion. We love
Man.
your emotion, man. You pour your heart out every time. Up next, let's go to Christina.
I'm just grateful to have this space and this opportunity. you know, when I was a young person, art, like many others may also agree with, you know, really like literally saved my life. You know, art is a healthy form of healing. It allows you to bring light to situations that have been tucked into dark spaces. You know, it allows us to be vulnerable, but at the same time, hide in our words and in the beauty of our words. And so I'm just, you know, grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of this and to share my artistry with all of y'all. If you're interested in seeing some more artistry, I do have a YouTube channel called Darkened Artistry, where I post different poems and such on there. But yeah, you know, huge snaps to all of the other performers that are here. And I hope that, you know, other schools and places begin to adopt something similar so other creators have the ability to really shed light on different things that are happening in their lives. And so really big shout out to you. Thank y'all all for watching, and thank you for putting this on for us.
Thank you, Christina. And last but certainly not least, Marlene.
Okay, so first off, I want to start off by saying thank you to Kenyon for organizing all of this, and also to the student coordinators that, you know, also were putting the word out, like Bella posting on Instagram and posting all our artwork and stuff like that. Big thanks to her. Also to mention, I did paint an art piece, so if you guys want to go check it out on our Instagram page, go ahead and do that. Yeah, so like for my painting, sorry, I'm like having difficulty time talking right now. For my painting, it doesn't have much of a description, but if you were watching while I was performing my first piece, then that should give you an idea of kind of where I got my influence for my painting. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that supported us. You know, you guys watching us is very important, because not only are you supporting us, but you're getting an idea of the struggles that we have been through and can further understand us a little bit more. Like, I think it was Diamond who mentioned it, right? That childhood trauma, oh my gosh, childhood trauma does not stop when you leave foster care, or it does not stop when you turn 18. Like, it's something that follows you. And a lot of time foster youth don't get the proper care that they need. So those problems and those issues and insecurities, you know, are carried into their adulthood and affect their life in many ways, especially in stressful situations like COVID-19. It becomes heightened and intensifies. So I just thank you guys for being here, educating yourselves and supporting us. Thank you to everybody that contributed to making this happen, to all the performers. You guys are amazing, and I love you guys.
Thank you, Marlene. We love you too. Again, thank y'all for sharing this space. Thank you for folks who are on Zoom and also on YouTube Live. Stay safe out there in them streets. Stay healthy. Community over COVID. Peace. Take care, y'all.